Today, we're going to unpack the surprisingly brilliant business model of a small-town florist, one who breaks one of the biggest, and I mean biggest, rules in the wedding industry.
So, if you've ever planned a wedding or a big party or really any major event, you totally know the drill. The pressure is on to book everything: the venue, the caterer, the photographer, months, sometimes even a year or more ahead of time. But what if that wasn't always the best strategy?
And this is where it gets really wild. You've got the conventional wisdom on one side, saying, book everything as early as you possibly can. And then you have this florist's rule, which is, do not place your order with us any sooner than 30 days before your wedding. I mean, it seems completely backward, right? So how on earth does a business model like that even work?
All right, let's dive in and really understand what this business is. And, maybe more importantly, what it isn't.
This florist has carved out a very, very specific niche for themselves. They specialize in small weddings in one particular area, Calaveras County in California, and they cater to couples who are planning on pretty short notice. Their entire model is built around two things: simplicity and affordability. And here is the absolute key to the whole thing. Weddings aren't even their main business. Their bread and butter is everyday flower deliveries, for birthdays, anniversaries, all that stuff. This means any wedding they take on has to fit seamlessly into their existing daily routine. That little fact is a huge reason for their unique approach.
So that brings us to the big question: why the 30-day rule? Well, it's not just some random number they picked. It's based on the cold, hard reality of the flower supply chain.
And this quote from the florist's own website, it explains everything. Think about it. If you order specific flowers 6 months in advance, there's actually no guarantee the grower will have them when your big day comes around. So this florist is just cutting out all of that uncertainty from the get-go.
It's actually a pretty simple chain of events when you see it laid out. The growers only know exactly what they'll have about 2 to 3 weeks out. By waiting, the florist can place an order based on what's real, not just wishful thinking. And the result? You, the customer, get exactly the flowers you saw and paid for. No disappointing last-minute calls about having to make substitutions.
Now, there's another huge factor at play here. This whole business model is also built on a key constraint. They don't do wholesale bulk ordering. They operate on a retail basis, buying flowers based on what's available week to week. So promising you some specific exotic flower months in advance, it's just not an option for them.
Okay, so we get the why now. But what does a customer actually get when they follow these rules? What does one of these simple and affordable wedding packages really look like?
This table gives us a fantastic snapshot of a typical order. You can see the core items right there: one bridal bouquet, maybe 1 to 4 for the bridesmaids, a few boutonnieres, and up to 10 centerpieces. The structure is just clean, simple, and the pricing is totally transparent.
And let's just focus on those prices for a second. The main event, the bridal bouquet, averages around $100. For anyone who has planned a wedding, you know that is an incredibly accessible price point.
And the same goes for the smaller stuff, like a classic rose boutonniere for less than 16 bucks. This whole thing isn't about upselling you, it's about providing the beautiful essentials at a really clear and fair price.
So how are these prices even possible? Well, it all comes down to focusing on flowers that are not only beautiful, but crucially reliable. By using a menu of go-tos like sunflowers, roses, and eucalyptus, they can confidently promise what they know they can deliver, all based on current retail pricing.
So, let's bring it all home. This isn't a story about a business that's struggling with its limitations. Nope. It's about a business that has masterfully turned those very limitations into its greatest strength.
Just look at how this model creates a perfect win-win. The customer gets a totally stress-free experience with clear pricing and no bad surprises. And for the business, they get to do weddings without messing up their main delivery schedule, they eliminate the financial risk of ordering a bunch of flowers that might not sell, and they end up with really, really happy clients.
So the crucial point here is this: not having wholesale access and not being able to handle those huge year-in-advance orders, it isn't a weakness. It actually forced them to specialize, to become the absolute best choice for a very specific type of customer who really values what they have to offer.
And that leaves us with a final thought. This florist found a thriving business not by trying to be everything to everyone, but by embracing their constraints. It kind of makes you wonder, in business and maybe even in life, is the biggest opportunity often hidden inside what looks like the biggest limitation?